Welcome back to another homework solutions video. This is the answer video for Chapter 5, Lesson 5, Day 1, Real World Problems Involving Average Speed. So if you're getting stumped, I am going to try to give you opportunities to pause the video and then get caught up and then maybe do your own solutions or pause and then carry on. So in problem number 1, and with all of these, taking a moment to draw a model is going to be really helpful for organizing the information and keeping track of what we know, what we don't know, and what we can find out. So in question 1, Mrs. Dawson takes 5 hours to drive 220 miles from her house to Venice Beach. Her average speed for the first 2 hours is 50 miles per hour. Find her average speed for the last 3 hours. So if I do a quick little drawing here, I know that there's going to be 5 hours, and I'm going to just draw this out. 1 hour, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so for these first 2 hours, so the time for this is 5 hours, and the distance is 220 miles for the whole thing. For the first 2 hours, so this chunk from here to here, we could do our distance, time, and our speed, and we know it took 2 hours, and she drove 50 miles per hour. And we need to know what is her average speed for the last 3 hours. So we don't know the speed. So let's see if we could figure out those other missing values, so that way we could figure this out. So looking over here with our red work, our distance equals speed times time. And that seems to make sense, where if I know our speed is 50 miles per hour for 2 hours, she will have traveled 100 miles. And that makes sense, because if she's only drives for 1 hour, that would be 50 miles. So 2 hours would be twice as long, assuming she doesn't hit traffic, of course. So that means if our whole drive is 5 hours and she's already driven 2, we know we have 3 hours here for that second chunk, and it's asking us those 3 hours, and we can figure out our distance. The total distance is 220 miles. She's already driven 100 miles, so that must mean she has 120 miles to go. And now we can use our formula for speed, where speed equals distance divided by time. And the distance that she traveled in those last 3 hours is 120 miles, and we're dividing that up over 3 hours. So that must mean that she traveled 40 miles per hour. So let's check the answer key and check it out. 40 miles per hour, 40 miles per hour. So if I was doing this for real, I would actually write that in a sentence. So let's see. Mrs. Morris drives her car for 1 hour and 30 minutes with a constant speed of 70 kilometers. Okay. Then she drives for another 45 minutes at a constant speed of 80 kilometers per hour. How far does she drive? So here we have 2 chunks. This one, we know our time. We have distance, time, and speed. And then our second chunk, we have distance, time, and speed. So to get us started, she drives for 1 hour and 30 minutes at a constant speed of 70 kilometers per hour. So because our speed is in kilometers per hour, I'm going to convert all of my times to that same unit. So 1 hour and 30 minutes is 1.5 hours. And then in that second portion, she drives for 45 minutes. Well, 45 minutes, 45 out of 60. I know this can be divided by 5. This can be divided by 5. And 45 divided by 5 is 9. So I can divide by 3 again. Okay, so 3/4. So that's 3/4 of an hour, or 0.75 hours, at a speed of 80 kilometers per hour. So if we calculate those two distances and then add them together, that will get us our total distance here. So let's see, in this first part, I'm going to put these into different colors for us. That way, as I do the work, we can differentiate that easier. Okay, so on the blue side, let's see, distance equals speed times time. So this is going to be 70 times 1.5. 70 times 1 is 70. Half of 70 is 35. So Miss Morris drives 105 kilometers in that first section. Second section, distance equals speed times time. Speed is 80 kilometers for 0.75. I'm going to use this fraction here because why not? So I'm going to simplify. I can divide by 4, and that's going to be 20. So we have 20 times 3, which is 60 kilometers. So then our final answer is going to be 105 plus 60 is 165 kilometers. So the distance she traveled was 165 kilometers, and check it out. That is correct. So number 3, a train moved at a speed of 90 miles per hour for 2 hours, then slowed down to 72 miles per hour for the next 30 minutes. Find the total distance the train traveled. So again, we have 2 chunks, 2 hours and 30 minutes. So here, our blue work, we know our speed and we know our time, but we don't know the distance. And then our speed is 90 miles per hour, and our time is 2 hours. Then it traveled down. We're going to have the same situation where time is given in minutes, but the speed is in miles per hour. So let's convert those 30 minutes into half of an hour. And now we can do our calculations to figure out what is our total distance traveled in that time. So blue side, we have distance equals speed times time, which is 90 times 2, or 180. So here's 180 miles. And in that second portion, we have same formula. So our distance equals 72 times a half, and half of 72 is 36. So that's 36 miles. So 180. Our total distance is going to be 180 plus 36, which is 216 miles. Check it. Check it. All right. So find the average speed. So again, average speed is the total distance divided by the total time. Now, I just realized that I have not been giving opportunities to pause the video, but hopefully you've been doing it as we have gone along. So our total distance we just figured out up above is 216 miles, and our total time is going to be 2 hours plus 30 minutes. So 216 divided by 2.5. Or you could write that as 216 divided by 2.5. So if you want to pause it here, you can do some math. All right, here's how I would solve this one. I know 216 divided by 2.5. I'm going to use a proportional relationship and double both of these. So if I double 2.5, I get 5. And if I double 216, I get 432. So 432 divided by 5. I can solve it either long division or I can do some branching. So I guess I'll do long division here, just for the fun of it. So 5 goes into 4 0 times, 5 goes into 43, 8 times 5 is 40. We're left with 32. 5 goes into 32 6 times, and we're left with 2. So we aren't done, and don't just tell me, please, 86 remainder 2, because I don't know what a remainder 2 is in terms of miles per hour. But I do have 86 and 2 out of the 5 that I need for the next full groups. So that train's average speed is 86 and 2/5 miles per hour. Now, if you like decimals, this one is pretty easy to convert into a decimal because I know 2/5 is equivalent to 4/10 as a fraction. So if you wanted to write this as a decimal or as a fraction, there are your two options. So on these problems, the picture wasn't super necessary, but as we get into the next couple of weeks or days, the pictures will become quite crucial. So I do encourage you to get used to that habit right now.